Okay. You want to clap sync?
Are you Michael Bay?
1, 2.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Funhaus. This episode is brought to you by Lisa Mattress. We got a fun deal with them. You get $125 off by going to lease.com/Funhaus. It is the deepest discount they have ever offered. We'll hear more about them later. But for now, I'm joined by a few wonderful guests. Who I got Jon Smith today. I got Bruce Green.
Hello.
And Lynn Marquis.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Lynn is a self-professed film buff.
He's a self-made millionaire, too.
Yeah.
Self-taught millionaire.
Self-taught millionaire.
Yeah.
He travels city to city telling people about wonderful ways they can better themselves through the beating down of women. I don't explain that title.
Well, I mean, if you want to feel good about yourself, it's important that you make sure somebody else feels terrible constantly.
Right.
You want to absorb their happiness.
And you just choose someone who you deem to be weaker than you.
Boy, oh boy.
But somebody that I would deem
Lynn,
weaker and
don't
that I
follow
love.
him down this hole.
Okay.
Do not follow him down this hole.
Well, that's your fault. Today on the show, we got a couple news stories, but we're going to be talking about A Quiet Place, hence why you clicked it, because of the thumbnail and the title that led you here to let you know whether we liked or didn't like the film. Fun part about this, only Bruce and I saw the film. And then we have a fun little game we're going to play at the end.
I love games.
It's a good game.
I'm really excited to see this movie. I have purposefully avoided all the trailers, so I will not be looking at you guys or anywhere this whole time.
That's because he's
Please
autistic.
don't spoil it for me.
First up, though, let's talk about some film news. So Harley Quinn film chooses first female Asian director to do a superhero film. Is there much to talk about there?
I pasted the articles. You're supposed to read the article.
Oh, I didn't have time.
Margot Robbie's still in it, right?
Yep, it's starring Margot Robbie, and there are actually a few things throughout this week, just the past few days, where times are changing. It's 2018. We got the first Asian female to direct a superhero movie. I think first, or is it? Which is more important, first AD or second unit director? Whichever it is.
Are you drunk right now?
No. They just announced it this morning. Episode 9, J.J. Abrams, and then the lady, I can't remember her name.
What a perfect
May we never
analogy.
forget.
What did they
perfect
do?
analogy.
What did they do?
She's like second in command on Star Wars Episode 9.
Just search Star Wars Episode 9.
I mean, there's going to be no footage of it. I don't know.
Well, what I mean is news. If you click on the news thing, you'll find out the name that John forgot.
It's a woman's name.
Uh-huh.
We get it. Yeah.
What other women's names do you know?
I know an Elise.
Uh-huh.
Good.
Name ones that don't work here.
I know Barbara.
She works at Rooster Teeth, but yeah.
They're not here.
You mean Rooster Teeth?
So, Victoria Mahoney.
Yep, that's what it.
She's the
that's
second
what I
unit
said.
director.
All right. So she's what, filming sand or whatever? Like the backup shots?
Yes.
No, usually second unit directors and first units, like what they'll do is they'll go off and direct not only the shitty stuff that the main directors want to direct. Sometimes they'll direct like more than background actors. Sometimes they'll direct scenes occasionally.
Still a first.
It's a good thing.
It doesn't say second unit?
Yes.
So she's the first second unit.
Yes.
We're almost there, guys and
We're
ladies.
almost there.
There are
It's
plenty
gonna
of
happen.
female directors.
That's
but
cool.
Speaking of.
Yeah. What?
Oh, I was going to say Phoebe Waller-Bridge has a new show out. She's killing it. She's a playwright, an actress, a director.
We had this conversation on the way to the gym at lunch, and John just had a lot of words that linked together
Right.
and sounded like he wasn't lying, but he could have been lying. What did you say? Phoebe
Waller-Bridge.
McWaller-Bridge?
Yep.
Okay. So
Were
she
you
sounds
driving by a bridge when he said it?
He saw a wall and then a bridge.
It's like she made a show called like Fur Friends or something. What was it?
Fleabag.
That's close.
Is that a show, Bruce?
It sounds like no.
It's on
But it
Amazon.
sounds like you comprehended it.
She talks about pooping. It's women stuff. Anyways, what's the next news article?
Oh, so Vin Diesel, the H Collective acquires rights to XXX franchise before fourth installment.
Has anyone told Lawrence about this? 'Cause he'll
No,
be really
this is why I
excited.
brought it. I thought it was very interesting. Not Triple H. Vin Diesel is so excited about the XXX franchise.
Because of the dollar signs in his eyes?
I mean, I don't know that the next Triple X is going to make a lot of dollar signs.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I'm not sure how Triple X3 did. So
I think it did well.
did it?
Did
What are
fine.
those pants?
Those are his motorcycle
Those are
pants.
Triple X pants.
Overseas, they gotta do good, right? Like
They
it's all
gotta.
big
They have to.
explosions
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's Vin Diesel.
They must.
Yeah.
Is it a stipulation thing? He's like, I'm gonna be a secret agent, but you gotta let me off road sometimes.
He's the extreme spy. He's the James Bond with an attitude.
It cost $85 million to make it. It made $346 million. I guess Vin Diesel's a draw over in.
In China,
Yeah.
because they made $44 million in the U.S.
Yeah, no one here cares.
No, they don't.
That's history repeating itself. Almost the same numbers of Scott Pilgrim back in 2010.
No, it's not.
Yeah, $85 million budget and it grossed like $37 million.
Yeah, but what did it make in China?
Oh,
You can look right now. Type it in.
Scott Pilgrim was actually a good movie.
Scott Pilgrim's a great
No,
movie.
of course. It just was marketed terribly.
Poorly.
And
Very poorly.
and I feel like if it came out today, it would be bigger because it
I would
feels
agree.
like video games have, even though they were mainstream in 2010, they've become kind of commonplace.
It did terribly.
And it had a $60 million budget.
It
and
did
didn't
poorly
make
all the
sense.
way around.
Oh well, I don't know how numbers work. Okay.
Yeah, numbers are hard. Well, that's good news for our pal Vin.
Yeah.
He's been down on his luck lately. He hasn't had any good movie franchises
That's not
at
true.
all.
He's almost a billionaire because of Fast and Furious.
And
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's a movie, isn't it?
Oh shit!
But it's probably all gone to his head, so that's good.
His big, shiny, bald head.
Our final news story: Carrie
That-
Ellis and Jake Busey join season 3 of Stranger Things. Who cares? Me.
Jake
I
Busey?
do.
Jake
You don't
Busey.
like Jake Busey? That's the only reason I
Why
put
is
it in
this?
there.
Yeah, why is this a news story?
His
Oh, wait.
son.
He's
Because
work-
I needed a third article to put in.
No,
That's
you
okay?
fine.
He's in
And son of Gary Busey.
Shoot, I read this as Gary Busey was
No,
in
it's
it.
Jake Busey.
That would have been good.
Jake Busey's in the second season of Day 5.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So you're
I
right.
knew
He
that.
will do anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just like the next step. Day 5 and then Stranger Things. They're basically
Well,
interchangeable.
Jake Busey was also in Starship Troopers, everybody.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
Why aren't we talking about
He
Shasta
was.
McNasty?
Plays the violin.
Ooh, look at him.
Yeah.
I love
Free
those
breast
titles.
exam. What is this?
I'm sorry. Did you not have UPN in the year of our Lord 2001?
Oh, Marilyn Rex.
I believe
That's Chloe from 24.
So
Yeah.
if you get a chance, you can watch every episode of Shasta McNasty on YouTube.
What?
Because there's nobody that cares enough to copyright it.
Well,
Is this
what
the
the hell?
prequel to Veronica Mars?
What the hell is that?
I forget what the point of the show was.
Probably the director said the same thing around the second.
But this was in the time when UPN was just trying anything to get people to watch. And
Oh, that guy.
who's that guy?
Remember, John's not very good with names.
The
we already
whole-
know that.
Or
Well,
numbers.
The whole thing looks like
His name's
a Smash Mouth
Webcam
music
Mike.
video. Anyway, it's so yeah, Jake Busey, star of Shasta McNasty, and I guess what other than the Princess Bride? What's
Starship Troopers.
Carrie Elwes.
Oh, Carrie.
Ving Rhames!
Vern Troyer.
That's from.
Oh.
Bing Rhames.
You can't just shout names at. If you see a bald thing, you can't just say what you think it is.
Carrie Elwes, what else? He was in...
He's Mr.
Saw.
Oh, yeah, Saw, yeah.
He's
Oh,
Mr. Princess McBride.
He's also in El Enchanted.
He's also in Men in Tights. Just so everybody
Oh,
knows.
that's
Yeah.
That movie
We're
frustrated
men.
me because there's the trailer where they fire the arrow and the tree splits. But that's not in the movie. Anyway, let's talk about A Quiet Place.
Yes, let's talk. Let's talk about a movie that's current.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Shasta McNasty?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Oh, darn. Okay, anyway, so Quiet Place, the movie came out about, 2 weeks ago? Something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
The plot is about a family who's forced to live in silence while hiding from creatures that hunt by sound. Has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 86% of audience score liking it. So I guess real quick, we can talk a little bit. I'm going to do my darndest to avoid spoilers unless Lynn or John ask for them.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Not a movie spoiler. Ah, shit. I saw part of the screen.
Who dies
But
and in what
a
order?
movie experience spoiler.
Uh-huh.
Did you guys see this in a quiet theater? Because that's something I've heard a lot, which is that...
It is 100% true. You need to see it in a theater ideally full of people, because that's the point. The point is that everybody has to be quiet, or else the movie's ruined. So if one or two people, it actually, like for Adam's karma, I think it might actually help, because in our theater we had a few people that were loud. Like somebody would like perk up or say something or whatever, like you could hear them whispering, and other people would shut them down right away.
Nice.
So yeah, so it was actually pretty good because in order to not ruin the film, everybody has to be quiet. And it builds a lot of tension in the theater as well.
Do you guys have draft houses out here? Because they're super big on that.
No,
it's amazing.
If anything, I feel like the theaters here encourage you to talk.
Yeah, it feels like
Yeah. Okay, so I had a Alamo Draft House up in San Francisco that I went to, and I loved it. And then I came down here, and the only thing we really have are AMC dine-ins.
That's right.
Where the waiters, I think, are frustrated that they have to, like, serve during a movie. So they'll stand in front of you. When they, like, bring you food, they'll stand between you and the screen and slowly put your food down and be like, do you want anything else? Is there anything else I can get you? I think it's the worst.
John has the hardest life. I don't know if everybody knows.
We bitch about the AMC dine-in, I think, once a month. But my favorite thing is that they have the blinding light next to you, so that the waiter, they always passively aggressively get mad at me because I cover it. Because every seat comes with a napkin with like utensils, so I take out the utensils and I cover the light. And then the waiter comes up and he comes with the person next to me and goes, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I couldn't see the light because this guy covered it with a napkin. I'm like, well, I can't see the movie because it looks like someone's shining a flashlight in my eyeball.
I should be clear, Len. I have no problem with the AMC dine-in. Literally not, and I've been there a number of times.
I've gotten used to it. I know now.
Right, well, that's the thing.
Like,
I walk in with the
hangout
expectation
place.
that people are going to like fuck the movie up. So I'm like, I don't care.
But
because people are just chilling. People will have full-on conversations in the
will.
AMC dine-in.
Someone was telling me that like someone like brought a book and like they had headphones and they were like just listening to music. I think they were watching something else on their phone.
Do they just want to waste like $15? I'm assuming. Whatever the price for ticket is there.
Regardless, I think this is the point I'm trying to get to here is a movie like this is that they were playing with fire because. Today's movie-going culture, at least in the United States, is so toxic.
That's true.
It is actively pushing me away from theaters. First, it was 3D. The movie theater's trying so fucking hard to get me to not go. Movies are coming out, 3 weeks after it's in the theater to digital, where it's like TVs are getting big enough where it's like, it's not as good as the theater, but I can get close, and there's no guy talking, and that's nice. And the reclining chairs. So either way, Quiet Place comes at a time where this movie's ruined if anyone talks.
It's not going to be any fun to watch at home.
Yeah.
Unless you are sitting there again in silence. Because if there's stuff happening in your house and your phone's going off or whatever else, that's it. Like, I feel like the movie has no tension at all otherwise.
Yeah. And to Bruce's point, it is a very tense film. Have you gentlemen seen Gravity?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would say it's somewhere near that where the characters are kind of dumb and I feel like they're constantly doing things to put themselves into further danger for some strange reason. Whereas Gravity, it felt, I think, a bit more kind of natural. Like, space is constantly trying to kill Sandra Bullock, so she's just trying to survive. This one, they keep doing dumb things that they probably could have avoided. But either way, like, the tension is constantly just ramping up.
Yeah.
So if you just enjoy feeling tense in your life, I think it's a fun movie to see, but can be ruined by just one guy leaning over and going like, I think he's from The Office.
But the nice thing about that, everybody else in the movie theater should revolt against that one person.
Yeah.
Because if they want the movie experience to be good, which most people do, I think, then they're going to say, shut the fuck up. So they're going to do that. They're going to shut him down.
I will say this without spoiling much of the film. There is little to no dialogue in the movie.
It's great.
There's like some. So I don't know how long it goes before someone even like utters a word.
I think it was like 14 minutes or something.
Oh, really?
Something long like that, yeah.
You sure? I forget. Either way. But yeah, people just they just don't talk because they can't.
Yeah.
I
read that in terms of like the way this film, like all the different kind of struggles that came with making such a silent movie without dialogue, the people who had the hardest time was the marketing team. Because normally they'll pull a bunch of quotes and cut it up and mash it into this like dense thing where it's like, look at all these cool parts of this movie. Whereas with this one, they didn't have that to work with.
I'll say the marketing team for this movie did a great job because whenever I saw a trailer, it really grabbed my attention.
Yeah, like it freaked people out.
Yeah.
Whenever I saw it in theaters,
it really grabbed my attention.
People would scream because they didn't realize how quiet it had gotten before it then got loud again.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
It's a unique premise for sure.
It is.
I don't think a lot of people saw this movie, but there's a similar movie that came out about a year ago called It Comes at Night.
I never did, no.
That's A24, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a similar sort of setup where it's like a post-apocalyptic world with a family trying to survive, and like, oh, something's coming. What is it? But that movie wasn't good, or at least it wasn't for me. I did not enjoy it. I didn't think it had much of a payoff. This to me felt like a more fleshed out version of that idea where there is a actual physical threat that you can see instead of like maybe there's a virus. I don't know. That movie was very unclear, and I wasn't too crazy about it.
I think that movie was more just around the paranoia. That was what it focused on.
Yeah, it was similar. Both movies I think were well acted. This one I feel like. So Hollywood I feel like cheats because you can just hire good looking people who can just stare, look brooding, and go, "What a great actor! Wow, that's amazing." So I think the actors were good.
I mean, Emily Blunt and John Krasinski are, they're historically very good.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything I've seen them in that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Devil Wears Prada.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
What else has John Krasinski
Looper.
been in besides 13 Hours?
The seasons 1 through 9 of The Office.
That's not counting
what
that.
other evidence do you need?
He was also in, I think it was in Zero Dark 30 very briefly.
Oh, is there?
He was also in Black Hawk Down.
Was he?
Everyone was in Black Hawk
He was
Down.
like
I didn't know
babyface John Krasinski in Black Hawk Down.
I didn't know that.
Babyface John Krasinski.
I didn't know that at
Hold
all.
on.
I will tell you this though, John. It's not. I don't think it's a 95%. I think it's lower. I think it's around the 70s. Because the more that I thought about, and not even thought about this movie, the more that I talked about it with Autumn as we walked out, both of us were kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't they do this? But why didn't they do this? And why did they do this? So, like, eventually, I poked holes in a lot of the premises that
the Muppets
that the movie had. So was he not in Black Hawk Down or?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
You think of Jarhead?
Trust me.
All right, John says he was in Black Hawk Down. I don't think it's as good as everybody says it is. I don't think A Quiet Place is as good as everybody says it is. It felt like it started off really, really strong, and about halfway through the movie, they start really hammering home a couple of I can't talk about it, but it's like I get it. Like the audience gets it, we all get it, everybody gets it. I know what's happening, and even the characters start doing things that like. But she should have figured that out by now. Why are they? There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, it's Jarhead.
Yeah, that's Jarhead.
John, have you been right about anything in this podcast?
Look, I have Google. I don't need to be right anymore.
I don't know, Adam. What do you think? I'm curious to see what you thought.
I think the movie betrays itself a few times because I feel like the plot device is very interesting. The idea is if you make a single noise, these monsters will hear you from like a mile away and come hunt you down. So they have to do everything very quietly. But the movie gives it these strange passes where they do these moments where they're like, bang, they bump into they didn't hear nothing. They're like, the monsters have attacked for much less in the past. That is strange. Yeah. It has a very...
Well, I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
In that regard, do they like establish that they are everywhere or that there could be places where you're kind of... farther from them?
Well, where they are, they've established they're everywhere.
Oh, okay.
So where this area is, that's they have said that that's it.
Yeah, there's a like a whiteboard there, you can see it right there, where John Krasinski's character keeps when he's like, you can see he's like, how many? 3, 5? They don't know.
He's trying to figure out
because they all look the same. They don't know what their weakness is. They're
aliens.
They could be monsters. I do like that part about the film is that
you don't know,
and that's pretty cool.
You don't need to know.
On that note, I did a little bit of digging as in IMDb trivia, but the movie was going through the greenlighting process. They were considering to be part of the Cloverfield universe,
which makes sense actually.
It makes a lot of sense. But then the producers and the director John Krasinski, who also directed, which is kind of cool, were like grateful that it wasn't. They were like, we're happy Cloverfield exists in its own way and we're fans of the film, but like if they had been part of the Cloverfield franchise, they thought it would have kind of limited their scope, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But they could have called this a Cloverfield movie and I would have been like, oh.
Yeah, it would have made sense.
Makes sense. Why not? So I guess what I'm trying to say is it feels kind of like a Cloverfield movie, which is, I don't know what that even fucking means anymore.
Well, I mean, like, it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's neat that you can just repurpose a film and be like, now it's Cloverfield.
You are Cloverfield now.
But I get what John Krasinski's saying. I understand why he didn't want it to be that. That makes sense.
It was a $17 million movie that I think looks like a $100 million movie.
They did a great job.
I think they did really well. It's I know Michael Bay's production company produced it, so they probably.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was Platinum Dune, so it makes sense. Like, okay, John Krasinski was in the 13 Hours. I keep forgetting that. Is that the name of the movie? 13
Yeah.
The Benghazi.
Benghazi movie. Yeah, so it's like he's buddy with Bay. Bay probably helped produce this thing, and it like I think it's fine. But once again, like I think the movie suffers from they need to keep upping the ante of how can we keep stressing out the audience, and so. If you took away the stress or you took away the perils that the audience is putting himself into, you wouldn't have as interesting of a film. Like it might be a lot slower, and you'd probably have more of an art film. So I get it. They have to sort of do this balance where like, oops, we knocked this thing over. It's like, why do you even have that thing there? Why the whole time they're building a quiet room? Why don't you go to the quiet room more often?
Because then it would just be in a family sitting quietly in a room for the first
I get it. Not a fun film to watch. So I totally get that. But then. There's just kind of strange rules too, where like you think they could probably come up with a solution. So there's a part where they're like near some water, like they're near a river, and they're like they can't hear us here. The river's loud. It's like move to the river.
That was exactly what Autumn said.
Come on.
Autumn said the same thing. She was like, why don't they just live next to the waterfall where they can't hear anything?
Oh, that's been a dream of mine.
Sorry, spoiler alert. By the way,
sorry,
they don't live near the waterfall.
You son of a bitch.
So there, like I said, there's a weird balance of like I did like the feeling of you never know when one of these things is going to attack. I like that something that we do on a basic day-to-day level could be your death. I like those ideas. I like the idea that the family it's implied that they only survive because they have a deaf daughter who can speak in sign language.
They already sign language.
Yeah, so that's like sort of their leg up. But then you would think like I think they're out in this world for like a year, and you're like,
yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's like really you couldn't have built like a small shack or just a series of tents near the river. I don't know. So if you forego any sort of logic,
no, I mean like you really have to start throwing things out to be like,
put a lot of money into that house. He didn't want to just leave the house. He put a lot of money into that house.
I just put a deck in, sweetheart. We're not going by the river.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I could see that if that was his character, but they. I guess if you're the director of your own film, you want to make yourself be the best character you possibly can be. So he's like a number one dad.
Yeah.
Like to the bitter end, he's like, I'm the best fucking dad in this movie. Watch out, world.
Also, like, what would they do? Like Swiss Family Robinson and like build like shacks out of like sticks and twine and not hammer anything?
I mean, what would you rather do? Would you rather die or live near a waterfall? I mean, like, and that's sort of the bottom line is like, there's a possibility you will die if you live in this house, or you go to near a waterfall and you probably don't have to worry about it. So, like, that's sort of that's a major point though, Adam. I think there are other little spots where, like, I can't spoil this, but there are a couple times where like John Krasinski especially does something dumb, and I was like, why did he do that?
Yeah.
And the deaf daughter does something stupid a number of times.
They're constantly doing dumb things.
Yeah, and it's like even in the movie you learned that the thing works. There's a thing that works, and in the movie you learn it, and then they teach it to you twice, and then somebody doesn't follow it again. And
yeah,
like,
except it's a weird thing where a character learns it, but it was like, but the character did. I don't know. Yeah, again, I don't want to spoil it.
Can't talk about it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And this is something I've been thinking really hard about.
I'm excited.
I know, so am I.
Do they eat beans?
Oh,
they eat
because
fish.
Humans for farting.
They eat fish mostly?
Mostly fish.
I mean, the human body farts regardless of what they eat.
No, I mean, think about when you've had indigestion.
Yeah.
And you've had a bad moment on the toilet. Mm-hmm. Think about that killing you.
Yeah.
I constantly think about that, especially after that Panda Express we had for lunch.
Yeah.
There are plenty of things, I guess, you think about in this movie that the film doesn't really address. Where, I mean, you eat one bad thing and you have a loud shit.
Yeah.
That like
you're dead.
Yeah.
What is the decibel level for it? Like how loud? Like
I don't know. It's almost like anything.
Anything?
Yeah. It's
or whatever's convenient to the movie.
Any normal conversation, you can't even whisper.
Okay.
Like there's no whispering involved.
So like all the birds dead?
There's a raccoon that gets stepped on at some point, I think.
They do show an animal or two get killed, but also there are some birds that fly away that are fine.
They don't tweet though, or
as far as we know, the monsters don't fly.
Gotcha.
So
they just run really fast.
They just run really fast. Yeah.
I will say, I was surprised at how much of the monster they showed, or the monsters.
They did. They showed a lot of it.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a movie where it's like they move so fast you don't see anything, but like they actually did like close-ups on these like monster things, which you kind of see them in the trailer.
It's like the opposite of Jaws.
I knew you wouldn't like that.
That kind of bummed me out that they showed so much.
It bummed me out only because, again, they, like Adam said, betrayed their premise. Where, like, I don't mind bad CG. It doesn't bother me. I understand that thing. You know, you have to do what you have to do if you're making a movie, whatever. But since they betrayed the premise of the film, which they could have avoided, then I started to see all the other flaws. Like, and that was my major problem with this movie, is that halfway through the movie, it starts to break down, and I'm like, oh man, I was liking what I was watching. You know, like they were doing a good job.
Right. I mean, there are little things I guess they could have done that would have probably made it a little bit easier. If they're like, one of the kids like, why don't we live by the river? And he said like, it's not safe there.
Could be a throwaway.
Yeah, or just something like that, or like
some sort of explanation.
Well, the dad is like constantly on the radio, like just doing like SOS or something, trying to like phone someone. He could have been like, we need to be here. They're like, help is coming, or just something, instead of like, it looks like they're just trying to have normacy, which also involves them having a child for some goddamn reason.
That the pregnancy thing is just that.
The one thing for me, so I explained that away in my own head with they're trying to repopulate because there's been a semi-apocalypse.
Get some baby hunters.
So bunch of inbred babies.
A little baby running around with a spear.
And just trying to repopulate the earth.
Oh. Yeah.
Did they build like a sound room or something for her to have the kid in?
They do.
Nice.
There's
styrofoam
like,
and
it is like, I think there were some smart people who sat in a writer's room and they came up with some ideas and they're like, oh, what if? Like they said, like, oh, these
the Walking Dead already did that.
Yeah. Oh, with the baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But it's like, how do you have a baby that is notorious for screaming, you know, when it comes out of the womb? How do you
There's no H in that word.
I know. I put it in there in this universe. So like, how do you have a child in this world? Like, I feel like any smart people, like John Krasinski, probably would have went to town with a baseball bat and ended that thing early. To be like, I have to save the family. Or maybe there was like, I was saying like, they can go totally dark with this movie, where it could have been like, she gives birth out in a field and the monster just takes the baby and walks away. And you're like, oh fuck, they have a deal with him. Oh. They do this all the time. Oh shit.
They wanted this movie to be a pretty cut and dry, like good versus evil.
Oh yeah.
Which again, I'm a big fan of. I like that kind of stuff.
But it makes no sense in the end.
No, it doesn't.
They work really hard to make it a happy ending, and it, once again, try not to spoil it here, it looks like a bad ending. And the characters like look at the camera like, we got it, wink. You're like, no, you don't have. No, like
they said they had it. I believe them.
I have a statement and a question.
Yes.
Statement is talking on the subject of the dark thing. There's actually an episode of MASH, which is known for being like a lighthearted show that then it's like, someone got shot, we got to do surgery, and it gets serious. There's an episode of MASH where like they're hiding, and they have to be quiet, and there's a kid who starts making noise, and the mom strangles and kills the kid so that
This was in MASH?
This is on MASH.
Holy shit.
So that the town can survive, because basically the whole town is hiding in this one room, and this kid starts freaking out, and the mom does it.
Yeah.
I heard it on a thing where they were talking about like would you sacrifice your kid? It was like a philosophical whatever. Anyways, question: can you guys think of any movie where it started out where you cannot see the danger, and it's all about the dangers, your imagination?
Blair Witch.
Hold on. And then they reveled it, and it was still good and scary. Because I think of Signs and like 4 other movies I had in my head before I started talking that I can't remember now. It was so scary up until you actually see the thing in its full presence, and you're like, oh, okay.
So there's.
He's saying like you were let down.
Well, because that's a common horror thing is that they don't show the danger.
You're gonna be let down about this movie. Then,
yeah,
if that's the way you're thinking about it. Because I wasn't Signs. I wasn't let down by it. I was fine with it. Again, I can look past bad CG, and I was like, oh, that's scary. Didn't bother me.
I'm not even talking about CG. I'm like this goes before CG. That a lot of horror movies would be even Halloween was POV from the killer's perspective for a long time, and you never actually saw him. And that's just like a common horror technique is to not show the actual thing so that it's all happening off screen and it's your imagination that gets you scared. And then I don't know if I've ever seen a movie where they reveal the thing and you're like, oh my god, I'm still scared of that man in that mask. I don't know.
Can you think of anything, Lynn?
I still have no idea the hell he's talking about.
I think he just means they showed you after a while what it was.
Are you asking for ones that I was disappointed, or ones that were
ones where it actually worked and it kept going and it kept the tension up after showing the thing that was
Jurassic Park?
There you go.
That's one of the only ones. Yeah, because John was getting at the fact that very rarely happens, if ever.
No, for sure. I feel like once you reveal the monster, and I feel like it's been worse with current films where it's CGI because the actors are on set and there's nothing there. Yeah. There's nothing to interact with, and once they interact with it, the plot armor is applied, and now the characters, the monster's moving slower, or the ways it was. It's I always attribute this video games. You watch a cutscene in Metal Gear Solid, right? And there's Psycho Mantis, and he's blowing people's heads up left and right, and then you fight him as a boss, and he's just kind of floating there, waiting for you, because now it has become a video game. It's no longer a cutscene, right? And the ultra powerful guy that you were afraid to fight, has to go through rigorous testing to work, and that's what happens in movies typically. We're if the bad guy could just kill you by thinking about it or whatever, then we wouldn't have much of a movie.
Jurassic Park's a good example, Adam.
Yeah.
That's one of the only ones where they adhered to the laws they had set forth before you'd seen, a T-Rex or any other dinosaur like that.
It's pretty simple. This one, once again, hats off to anyone trying to work on something original-ish.
Yeah.
And they're trying to establish a world with rules, and then maybe not try to explain everything and trying to figure out they hunt by sound. What an interesting idea. They're blind, and building tension around that. So I'll give credit where credit is due, obviously, but when the movie betrays its own rules, I feel like there's a inherent problem.
I think it's worth seeing in the theater. It's an experience that you probably won't forget.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very rare that you see these films.
Well, it sounds like the tension in the room would be what also helps the movie.
Totally does.
That's a nice feature for the film. Totally. Ooh, Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers?
Same guy made the Descent, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it's good.
Is that in the Air Bud universe?
Yeah. They all play basketball.
Oh, man. Air Bud goes to Iraq. Yeah. And then the sequel, Air Bud PTSD. This is good.
Air Bud drone program.
That's great. Real quick.
Dog Soldiers.
We'll come back to this. I do want eventually talk about Dog Soldiers, but I have a fun little thing we're going to play a little bit here. Real quick, though, take a quick break to let you know that this episode of Filmhouse is brought to you by Lisa Mattress. They're an innovative direct-to-consumer online mattress brand that's also socially conscious. So spring into a better sleep. Spring.
Because it's spring, get it?
Because it is spring.
Oh, actually, I didn't, but I get it now.
No, you do.
Spring, motherfucker. $125 off at lisa.com/filmhouse.
Wow.
Like I said, is their deepest discount. Deepest spring puns.
Deep mattress.
This is a deep meaning.
Not really a pun, but
okay. Kind of. Deep, like the deep cushion. It's because it's comfortable. You sink into it. So anyway, they that one mattress is donated for every 10 sold, and one tree is planted for every order received. So, Lynn, those trees you've hit with your car?
Yeah.
They've been replaced by mattresses.
Glad somebody's picking up my carbon footprint.
That's why this company was invented. So, actually, 23,000 mattresses have been donated thus far, and they have 11,000 5-star reviews. So that many people, I don't think, can possibly be wrong. And I go with the crowds on those. I'm actually a sucker for all those Amazon reviews. If it's anything lower than 4.5 stars, it's trash. Garbage. Just throw it away. Why even sell it? So Lisa mattresses are loved by over 300,000 happy sleepers and counting. One of them is our own Bones.
Oh.
He needed a bed. He made his child in that bed.
Ew. That's cool. I don't want to think about that.
I do. Constantly. All I could ever see in Quiet Place, all I can think about is repopulating the earth and what kind of bed I would do it in, because it has to make the least amount of sound. My bed makes lots of noise. I should probably get a better mattress. Socially conscious with a mission to end bedlessness, I like that word, in America. Lisa Mattresses was designed to provide support and pressure relief to every body type and sleeping for a deeper night's sleep. Just go to lisa.com/filmhouse, get $125 off. Please check them out. And thank you, Lisa, for sponsoring this podcast so we can talk about amazing Academy Award-winning films like A Quiet Place. I assume it's going to win Best Picture.
I don't know about that one.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm not sure that's going to do that.
Okay. I can throw out a little quick tidbits I wrote down for the movie. We're in it with the Cloverfield thing. Did you know John Krasinski and Emily Blunt have been known to be married in real life?
Known to be married.
Anyway.
Yes, they are married in real life.
Didn't you write like John Krasinski or something?
John Krasinski, yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. The original script only had one line of dialogue.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
John Krasinski played the monster in a motion capture suit for a few of the scenes.
Really?
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, when it looked at the camera and
That
winked.
that was it for interesting tidbits about the movie.
That's cool.
Oh, more will come out when John Krasinski does the audio commentary.
That'd be
It tells
great.
you about all
John
this
Krasinski.
crazy- Yeah.
So I have a fun little game I want to play with this, but before we get to that, John put in a little bit here. I guess we have a new segment called What We're Watching. Each week, every guest will recommend something they have viewed on a streaming service that viewers can readily access online.
Share the wealth, y'all.
Lynn, hit it.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a second.
Okay.
Well, this is John's idea. I think he should go first.
All right, John, hit it.
What are you watching?
I already talked about it.
What? Lady Bird or whatever?
Killing Eve.
When did you talk about that?
You talked about it in the car ride.
Not on the
earlier.
podcast.
That was not
I
recorded.
started talking about it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Actress, writer, playwright, director, star.
She's
Structural
a regular
name.
Yeah. Regular John Krasinski she is.
She wrote, not directed or starred in. She normally stars in her stuff. She wrote the first 2 episodes of Killing Eve, which are currently streaming on BBC America, or if you live in the UK, on straight up BBC. BBC One, BBC Two, I don't know. But it's a great show. It's basically it's almost kind of like Hannibal, where there's this very intelligent killer and a like gung ho detective, and they both know each other exists, but they're trying to find each other. It's that kind of premise, but it's with Ellen Pao and a very lively lady opposite her.
You don't know women's names.
I don't know her name. She's new. I looked her up. I went on her IMDb. She's been in like 2 things before this.
Okay.
So she's a new lady.
You think our audience is following what Ellen Pow's doing? You think we got a lot of Ellen?
No, I still can barely visualize who that is.
But
Grey's Anatomy?
Oh, there we go.
It's all
Isn't it Ellen Pompeo? But
it's all strong women. So I liked it. It
Okay.
was very, very encapsulated last night.
You're a regular Joss Whedon.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
You-
That's exactly who I am.
You empower women so you can take advantage of them. I like that about you. That's very smart. I've been watching just kind of the basics. Legion, Silicon Valley, that stuff. I heard Barry's gets better or is good. I don't know. I still got to watch that. But I'm going to throw out this one because I don't think anyone's watching it. Patriot on Amazon.
oh yeah, Omar's been talking about that for weeks.
Omar, I think, wants other people to watch it so that he can talk about it.
Yeah, that
because
makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
how much he likes it.
Yeah.
I'm only 1 episode in, but it is it's a weird. I guess the best way I can clash it is Tom Clancy meets Coen Brothers. There you go.
Okay.
Dark comedy with some social political bits about it. It's very dark. It's very funny. It moves, and it's got a lot of no-name actors or actors I haven't seen in anything before that are doing a good job. So I think that one actually needs a little bit of love because hopefully that one gets a 2nd season. So if you have Amazon Prime, check it out. It's available right there. Most Amazon streaming apps fucking blow. So good luck finding it.
They really do blow.
They're
the worst.
If you're a multi-trillion-dollar company like Amazon, do something,
They're
man.
the worst.
Something that doesn't look like it's made with freaking Android gingerbread. It's just garbage.
I could go off about a bunch of other garbage that I watch.
You watch a lot of garbage.
Like Suits and stuff
Wait,
like that.
you watching Krypton?
No.
Oh, okay.
I refuse to watch another Superman show. But I'm going to say, because I just went back and watched it, and obviously it's coming out soon. I think by the time this podcast goes up, it may have the new episode of season 2, Westworld.
Whoa.
Rewatch Westworld.
Oh, rewatch.
Because the first season is genius. It is a literal genius. It's some of the best screenwriting I think I've ever seen.
Okay.
Of anything ever. Movies, television, doesn't matter. It is amazing.
Yeah,
Wait,
I think
did
it
you
starts
say season 2's coming out?
Yeah.
this month. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Season 2's coming on Westworld.
And I don't know who this goes for, but Elise let me in on this one. I just got HBO recently because Hulu had an add-on package thing, so it's like $5 a month for 6 months.
So if you have Hulu already, you subscribe to HBO, and it's just an extra $5 a month.
I did it for Silicon Valley, but it was because of Westworld that I renewed my account because I was basically canceling it every time Game of Thrones went off air. But I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed Westworld season 1. So.
It's about robots and humans. And
or what it means to be human.
There's a lot of nudity.
Existentialism, am I right?
A lot of nudity.
It's
right, Brian?
It feels very Chris Nolan.
You mean Lynn?
Because it's John Nolan.
It works.
What are you watching, Lynn?
What's your first name?
You only know me from tweeting at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to go with, I actually was watching Dragon Ball Super. I'm going to go out there on a limb.
That's not a limb for our audience. I bet they're already watching it.
It's a new segment called Going Out on a Limb.
Nice.
Roll the title card.
But it's still the same exact formula that they always do, but it's like this weird kind of like comfortable thing that I've been watching since I was like a little kid, and I just recently started getting back into, and it's still like one of those things that just it's a good thing just to have kind of like playing on and stuff, exactly where it's going to go and how it's going to end, but you still are along for like a fun ride, and you don't have to be hung up on like little mistakes or errors that they do and stuff throughout it, because it's just something you can just kind of enjoy.
I have not checked out the Super Series at all. Does it still move at like a snail's pace, or does it?
It's faster. But it's still the same kind of stuff. Like the Goku Black saga and stuff like that's still fun. The overall arc is still great, but they still go like back and forth on things that they don't need to and stuff like that. Yep. If you want like a good Cliff Notes to catch up on, I'm hoping that the Dragon Ball Z abridged guys will finally catch up. Not to hassle them, I'm sure they get enough of that, but they're if you want to watch some of the old episodes like the Cell Saga and stuff just to kind of get back into the mood of it, I'd recommend maybe trying that out just because it's fun and it still has like the same animation and stuff and general storyline, but it's hilarious and the writing's great.
James is rewatching Kai.
Oh, that's
he's actually watching the episodes from like 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah,
he's a madman.
If he watches the abridged episodes.
We did a little bit. You know that video we shot yesterday, the announcement RTX video thing we did, because James does a bit where he has like a Frieza helmet on.
Yeah.
I put in the Dragon Ball Z song, but from the American intro, and I just took that song only exists like in the intro of the song. I couldn't find it just like alone. So there's like all the fighting noises and stuff. And I rewatched and it's like, God damn, that was a good intro. They made it look like a much faster show than it actually is.
The super intro and stuff and the tournament. It's fun.
Just play Fighters. You playing that at all?
No, I was going to.
You should.
Yeah, I hear.
Before you fly out today, we'll play a quick game.
Awesome.
It'll be fun. Okay, cool. We're getting close to the end here. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. John, what a great segment.
Hey, the fans are going to like it.
I like it.
They're always looking for stuff to watch.
I like that idea because then we can start throwing out some more like smaller shows you may have never heard of, things you can get into. That's how
like Westworld.
That's how Bruce got me into Mr. Robot. He's like, hey, the show sounds stupid, but you should watch it.
It's
a good show.
Great show.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
The most recent season's awesome.
Last season's amazing. Dear God. If you watch Mr. Robot for any reason, it should be to watch that last season. Yeah. So I'm going to have a fun little game. I already gave Lynn. My bad.
It's Mr. Marquis.
I know, Mr. Marquis.
Thank you.
My bad. I didn't want to call you by your first name. Your real name. So I kind of gave you a heads up on what this little game is going to be. I want to take someone who has seen A Quiet Place and one person who hasn't, so Bruce and Lynn.
Copy.
You are both media producers. You are walking into Mr. Bay's office, and you are pitching A Quiet Place to be made into a feature film. You want to secure all $17 million to make this bad boy. John over here will be playing Michael Bay today.
Got it.
Oh, I'm Michael Bay? I thought you were Michael Bay.
Fuck no, I'm not Michael Bay. I'm a shitty improviser.
All right.
You can do Michael Bay.
All right. So you gentlemen are waiting right outside the door. Knock, knock. Take it away.
Do you want to start or should I?
I'll go ahead.
Okay. Enter!
Howdy, Mr. Bay. How you doing today?
Nice to meet you, Mr. Bay.
Hey, I don't got time for this. Just tell me what you want to hear.
You got it.
All right. So,
It doesn't make any sense what you just said, but we'll get to it.
why is Jack Nicholson dressed like Michael Bay? I don't understand. All right, so we've got a great pitch for you. Great idea. All right. It's an adaptation of a book.
I like it.
All right. Have you ever read Anne Frank?
Yes.
No,
Anne
wait,
Frank's
no.
Diary?
Lynn, that's the wrong movie.
Oh, shoot.
We're pitching a movie called A Quiet Place.
Oh, that's what it was.
And what this movie is...
I don't know.
Hold on.
If you've seen my movies, you know I don't really like quiet stuff.
Why is Michael... So when did you turn Italian, Mr. Bay? Anyways, so what it is basically a movie where the creatures hunt sound.
What kind of creatures?
They could be aliens. They could be monsters.
Would they be robots from space?
No, Mr. Bay. We know you're working on Transformers 6. This is another movie entirely. Take it away, Lynn.
All right, keep it going. So these quiet robots, what do they do?
You know how all of your movies have become a parody of themselves? And they're all just, big explosions and layers and layers of shots.
I'm in on it.
Yes,
Did you actually do coke off that microphone? Let's go the complete opposite on that.
Okay.
Let's go way, way other side.
Yep.
And let's do a nice, suspenseful, engaging, silent.
So you're saying
Quiet.
all those things you said my movies aren't?
No, we love your movies. We love your. There are movies for each audience. But think of it this way. Think of it. Imagine walking into a theater, sitting down,
Okay.
and watching a movie where nobody says a word for 15 minutes, and there's so much tension in the room where nobody wants to say anything because they don't know what's going to happen.
You guys, have you seen Ratatouille?
Real quick, secretary calls in. Mr. Bay, you have another appointment in 1 minute. You need to wrap this up.
Okay, I gotta wrap this up.
Did we get it?
I'm gonna say greenlight it because I feel like that chef in Ratatouille. You guys are taking me back. I haven't been in a public movie theater for 30 years.
All right, well, thank you,
built
Mr.
my
Bay.
own
We'll
theater.
take our money. Bye.
End scene.
Oh my god!
Wow, that went better and worse than I thought it would.
We did a great job.
You guys sold the movie.
We did it.
Way to go.
I mean,
I just wanted to insult Michael Bay to his face.
like he fucking cares.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's
like
fair.
he gives a fuck.
Yeah, he's like, as he's snorting coke out of a hooker's asshole, he looks up and goes, "Who said that? I need to make more Transformers movies," and that's okay. That's fine. So thank you, everyone, for watching, listening, however you choose to consume this content. Thank you, John. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Lynn, for flying all the way out here to share your opinions. I look forward to your future stylings at all your self-help seminars. Where can we find more of your stuff?
So I'm going to be in the subway parking lot across the way, probably from about 2 a.m. to 8:30.
All right.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
Subway sandwiches?
Yeah.
You don't have to be Michael Bay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
or
We're
whatever
still
you think
Italian
Michael Bay
based.
sounds.
Italiano based.
And thank you, Lisa Mattress, for sponsoring this episode. If you enjoyed this stuff, tell a friend. Keep it going. It's always a fun ride. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep it quiet.
A giant high school production, I suppose, as you could imagine, if that makes sense. So like having to, every single thing that we're doing is like every dollar is stretched as far as it'll go because there is no corporate giant overlord watching over us and helping us with anything financial. It's simply from us.